Hey guys, Coach Andrew here with Rip Current Athletics, and this is the Anchored in Fitness podcast. Today's guest, we have Roger Quintero. Roger is a friend of mine. He is the founder and host of the Common Podcast. Again, the Common Podcast. On today's show, we talk a little bit about everything. Topics ranging from friends, faith, family, and of course, fitness. So remember to like and subscribe, share, of course, and also, if y'all are ever in town, come in and join us for a workout. We'd love to have you guys. All right, on to the show. You guys enjoy. All right, so welcome back, guys. So Andrew here with Rip Current Athletics. This is the Anchored in Fitness podcast, and today's guest, we got my buddy here, my friend, Roger Quintero.
What's going on?
Yeah, so Roger, a little bit about Roger here, and I'm going to give you a brief explanation as to who he is, what he does, and and we'll let him talk a little bit more. Let him explain a little bit more as to who he is, what he does. But Roger, he's also the host and founder of the Common Podcast. I was lucky enough to be on his podcast. He hosted me on there. We talked a little bit about some other issues, health, physical fitness, life, a little bit of everything. And today, he was gracious enough to jump on our podcast here today. And so, if you don't know yet, we have changed the name to Anchored in Fitness. So this is the Anchored in Fitness podcast, a podcast hosted by Rip Current Athletics. So so we'll get right into it, though. Roger.
Well, first of all, my name's Rogelio Quintero Jr. That's my full name. Like Andrew said, the founder of the Common Podcast. Y'all can check it out on YouTube and Spotify for now. But I want to, first of all, thank you, Andrew, for having me on. It's a pleasure just even having a conversation with you, to do it on the record. I already know we're going to have some good discussions on here. You also allowed me to come into your beautiful facility here that you've had for about 2 years?
Going on 2.5. 2.5
years. And we did a little nice workout this morning too, so we're nice and sweaty.
Yeah, we got to jump in with the 9 a.m. crew. Ladies in there, got after it.
Yeah, it was a great workout. So I'm kind of new to this whole CrossFit thing. Well, I've been reintroduced, and it's been a pleasure, man. I'm loving it, getting excited. But before we get into that, a little bit about myself. So I am a store director at a fast food restaurant. Kind of weird, right? That we're going to be talking about fitness, but yeah, I'm working at a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, man, but whatever pays the bills, man.
For sure.
You learn everything from, and service industry is, people take that for granted or think that you don't learn anything for service industry, especially fast food. Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of different things. You deal with a lot of different things. You learn a lot of different things that you don't get working in a bank. You don't get working at, cutting grass, or there's a lot of different things that you learn from that.
Yeah, it's been an experience. I mean, I've been working with the company for eight and a half years now. I've been store director. In other words, general manager, GM, just a different label on it. For 2.5, I've been an assistant manager for 3.5. So nonetheless, I mean, the experience has been great. I mean, I've learned a lot. But that's what I do. I've taken a small break from college, but I plan on going back. So I'm doing kinesiology, so hopefully I'd be able to do athletic training, or depending on where I'm at in my life at that point, see where I go from there. I'm recently married. Been married for, I want to say, almost 11 months now. So my whole life in the year of 2020, excluding COVID, has also had huge change within the past year. Started up the podcast. I've been married. I'm the first home buyer. So I have a lot of things coming into my life now, and I'm just super excited.
Yeah, 2020 was actually in a way a monumental year for growth.
Oh yeah.
Excluding COVID, the whole virus thing, you used it and propelled yourself upwards. And like I said, first time home buyer, starting up a new gig with the podcast. Marriage, those are all things that aren't easy.
Yeah.
They're not. We're trying to get our podcast started, and it's like, okay, we're having struggles of just getting production done, getting people that want to come in and do it with us. So that in itself, and it seems easy enough, and it can be, but it does have its ups and downs.
Yeah,
Buying a home in this market, you know, but you got in that before the market boom, a little bit before that, if you got in 2020. So, you know, that's being a first-time homeowner is nuts, because once you buy a home, it's not all, you know, just move in and there it is.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bunch of issues that come about with it, that you find little things here and there. It's like, we didn't know about this, we didn't know about this, or shit, we actually got to pay for this.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure, bro. It's a lot more expensive than what I expected. I mean, the first couple of months, like, I was a big saver before getting a first home, and then seeing my bank account be shortened that much, it was like, whoa, like, am I ready for this? You know? But we all adapt. You know, us as human beings, we adapt to every situation. So, my wife and I, we've received some counseling. I talked to you a little bit about that beforehand. Some marriage counseling, but also some financial counseling.
Yeah.
And this helped us out with that whole process. And right now we're in a good position, and we're going to continue that, to continue to grow, because we have things that we want to do in our future as well.
And marriage is crazy, you know, especially now, especially being on the younger side of it, you know.
Yeah.
Married. I know you did a topic about this on your podcast, the Common Podcast, you know.
Yeah. We actually had a whole marathon on it. We had like three or four
three or four iterations of
shows,
it, or shows for it. But to think, because you're 24.
Yeah, 24.
You know, having gotten married at 24, it's not, for our generation at least, is not very common.
Yes.
It was common, you know, back in our parents' and our grandparents' days, you know, and before that. But now marriage is not that common anymore.
Definitely not. We talk about it on the show about how it's a new trend now that people just aren't getting married. People don't see the point of getting married. They're either getting married very late in their 30s, because that's when they're, I guess, mature enough in this generation, or they're just not getting married because they don't see, why do I need to get all this law involved or all this commitment stuff just to prove that, you know, our relationship is real, or you know what I mean, I can love you outside of the constitution of marriage, is basically people's mentality. But yeah,
it's a very, in a way, old school way of seeing things, but it's also in a way, I think, an easy way out, because we're not confined to that other person.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't look at a relationship that way. You know, relationships should not be looked at that way.
Yeah.
Now, of course, divorces happen, things like that. You know, I can't really speak to any experience on that, because I've never been married.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of my friends, cousins, family members, they've been married and divorced.
Yeah, but let's be clear that you don't need to, there's this misconception where you need to go through something in order to have a position on it. It's not the way it is. You know, murder's bad.
Of course.
Yeah, you didn't murder anybody.
No.
That's the way it is. I mean, you don't need to absolutely do something to know that something's bad. So you can have an opinion on marriage. I mean, on my show, by any means, I'm no professional at anything. I have no doctor's degree in anything. But yet we go and we speak on there with confidence based on our experiences and what we see and how we grew up. That's the whole point of the Common Podcast. We're just common, casual people speaking on what we believe. And so,
and whether you agree with it or not is up to you, you know.
Exactly. So your position is very valid. Don't ever think, anybody listening right now, just because you haven't experienced something, don't think that your position and the words that you speak is not valid. It's very valid. Yeah,
you know, marriage is one of those sacred things.
Oh yeah.
And it's something that we've gotten away from, unfortunately, like, so our generation. But our generation has gotten away from a lot of things. You know, Christianity is one of them.
Yeah.
Especially with everything that we watch, that we see on TV and social media and things like that. It's like, you know, people think that just because you're a Christian or, you know, whatever you follow, whatever religion it is. I'm going to go off Christianity because I am a Christian as well. Now, they think it's a bad thing. It's like, we shouldn't be shoving that stuff in people's faces. I'm like, no, I talk about my faith when people ask me about it, and if I think it could help them out, then I'll recommend, you know, my favorite book in the Bible is the book of Job, because it's about a gentleman who's always been a faithful servant to God. You know, he's considered a rich man at the time, big family, everything was going right for him.
Yeah.
Devil takes over and tries to make a bet with God, saying that he can get Job to rebuke God, saying that I'll get him to turn on you.
Yeah.
Basically torments him, kills his family, takes away all his land, riches, covers this guy in sores and scars and everything. And he's like, he never questions why God is doing it. He just questions what is the purpose of the learning experience from this.
Yeah.
And
what did he do? Like,
and what'll be the next steps for this,
Yeah.
And so that's one of those things where it's okay. We don't have those. Like, a lot of people don't know that book. For one, everybody likes to get tattooed. Philippians.
Yeah.
What is it? The 16 or 13.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I forgot. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Yeah.
Which is good. But we shouldn't be using that as just for tattoo or ornamental purposes, or just like putting it underneath an Instagram quote, or as a quote for Instagram or Facebook. No, it's a lot more than that.
I'm an advocate of not really trying to shove things into people, but really showing them the grace through your actions and through like example. So like for me, people get mad because, oh, you're forcing Christianity on me and whatnot, but yet sex is forced upon us through social media.
Every day, through commercials, through everything.
Money, materialistic things, all this stuff is literally shoved down our mouth or forced into our eyes every single day. But yet when Christianity is done that way, it's like frowned upon. How dare you test my morals? How dare you try to convince me to believe in God?
Yeah.
Right? And it's hard for them to even, because they can't see God, right? So it's like, how am I gonna be forced to believe in something I can't see? So I just think, but even at that though, I still do not believe in forcing people to do anything. That's why I spoke about it in my last podcast. I am not a follower of any type of movement, like Black Lives Matters, Gay Pride, and all this different type of stuff. Mexican, any type of things, because the point is that these people are fighting because they feel segregated, but the point of them doing all these different riots or whatever they're doing is segregating themselves in itself. You know what I mean?
True. It does happen. You're putting that barrier up for a reason.
By making a movement, you're literally saying we're different.
You are. And and some people need that to feel part of something.
Yeah.
But it's like, again, here, where you got these different flags and different organizations, it's good. It is good because we do need that. We do need that association.
Yeah, we
help us it helps give us a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
It's one of those things of belonging to a tribe. But we're forgetting again is like, and it is like, hey, we're in America. We're Americans first.
Yeah.
Like we do here in the Valley, we do have Mexican heritage, Mexican blood, and we're proud of it. But we're Americans first. Like I said, Christians, we consider ourselves part of a group, and great. That makes us feel good. That makes us, again, it's not pushing that onto anybody. If we think it could help, great. We'll give them something that, I'll tell you, like I said, going back to the book of Job, when you're going through some bad times, read this book. It'll help you put things into perspective. Like, hey, you go through some obstacles, some bad stuff, but things are gonna get better. Like, if you keep faith in your hard work and in a let's say in this case a higher power.
Yeah.
For us it's God, Jesus Christ. For others it could just be the universe. It could be whatever you believe in.
Yeah.
It doesn't, whatever the case is. You just can't have that little victim mentality.
For sure.
And once you start adopting that, and unfortunately a lot of what's happening now is it's a lot of victim mentality for everything. We look at all this stuff this past year.
Yeah.
With the whole issues of shutting down and everything. Okay, great. It happens. Unfortunately, it did happen. But those, like I said, that you came out of it with a new house, a wife, a new gig that you're trying to pursue. The podcast. Moving up and learning through how to operate through through all this crap.
Yeah, for sure. I saw an opportunity because I knew that the world was going to be put on pause, and I knew that, okay, this is my chance that the weak-minded people are literally going to fall off.
They're going to stay down. And
exactly.
Those of us or those people that want to move up, they're going to.
This is my time. It's now clearer than ever. Now we can see who's really about it and who has that victim mentality, right? That's actually how fitness plays a big role into my life.
Faith and fitness, man.
Faith and fitness.
Faith, fitness, and family. So,
yeah, the reason why I work out is because it empowers me. Like it proves to me every single day. It humbles me because I go out there and I work hard and whatnot, and it breaks me. But yet the next day I come back stronger, right? So I love this quote. It's by Matt Frazier, and it goes, I'm doing today what you're not willing to do, so I can do tomorrow what you can't.
Yeah.
Which is,
give me 1 second. So keep going.
Okay. So the empowerment of fitness has played a huge role in my life. The day that I decided to change my life was March 18th, 2015. Right? I put it down on the board.
March 18th, 2015.
Yeah.
So,
been like 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, and I understand right now. I'm
your senior year of high school, or right after?
A year after.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, about a year after. Now I'm a little bit on the chunkier side now, but I'm gonna explain how recently I've been reignited and out of that victim mindset, because I will admit that I have fallen in that victim mindset when it comes to fitness. So I'm gonna talk about that here, and I've never spoke about it in any other, not even on my podcast. So March 18th, 2015, I decided to change my life. I was sick and tired of it. I was overweight, over 250.
Not a solid 250, like a flabby 250.
Oh yeah,
a chunky 250.
Yeah, I'm talking blubber, bro. Like, yeah, just not lifting. I worked out in high school for football. I would just do it to get by, just so I could play football.
Yeah.
It wasn't a true passion of mine. There were instances where, like, oh, I loved it, right? But never really to the point to after this day. I wrote down on the board the night before, and I said, tomorrow's the day. I'm gonna change my life, physically, mentally, spiritually. And I set out to do it. And I told my significant other at the time, is like, I'm going to do this starting tomorrow, with or without you, with or without anybody. I'm going to make a change in my life. Fast forward 6 months later, I lost 60 pounds. I got straight A's in all my classes in college. I got more connected to God than I had ever done in the past maybe 2 or 3 years. I saw growth exponentially through all across, but fitness was the key to that, because every single day that I would wake up at 5 a.m. and started to work out, I was broken, but I understood that I needed to get broken in order to become stronger.
Yeah,
like,
to grow.
This is a process, and I loved every single bit of it. So I went from 250 to 190, and I ended up doing within a year, no, actually a little bit over a year, my first bodybuilding show. So
no shit.
Yeah. So
nice.
I did a transformation show. I placed third, which is pretty cool. That I have that, under the belt, that I got to experience that. So I did that, and then I became like a trainer on the side, and I started to do all this stuff. Now recently I kind of fell into the victim mindset. So I would say during the COVID, like, gyms are closed, and I fluff up easy. Like, I'm a pretty big guy, and like, if I overeat and I don't work out and I don't take care of myself, I'm not gonna stay slim. I will fluff up.
Yeah. So
I need to be very disciplined. So that's exactly what happened. I mean, there's no excuse, and I try to make up the big, they closed the gym, so I can't go to the gym. Oh well, I just got married. It's okay for me to enjoy my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're gonna gain that love, the love gains.
Yeah. And so I was making literally every excuse under the sun to why I stopped being so dedicated and disciplined. And it was up until recently, bro, when Carlos messaged me about the CrossFit competition. And it was exciting again. It was like, man, like, I want to do this, like, I'm working towards something. And then the day of the competition, which, just to give you all a little context, Andrew and I, along with 2 others, shout out to Carlos and
Jason.
Jason. We tore it up at a competition. Well, for us,
we tried to. We tried to.
It was like
all of us went into this so unprepared, but
for sure.
You know, like you were saying, it was a good little fire starter.
Exactly, dude. It lit a fire into my tummy like I cannot even explain. I've been working out since then, twice a day, hitting cardio like crazy. Like you have no, like I'm a different human being now, and I'm so excited to see within the next few months now how I'm going to progress. Because once I have my mindset, and once I'm drilled in, I know great things are going to come out of it.
Yeah, and put it in context. You know, we've done a few competitions. You know, you've competed. You've done a few different things.
Yeah.
You know, I competed primarily starting in powerlifting and of course CrossFit competitions since I guess 2011. And you know, but of course with the whole shutdowns and everything kind of stopped. That kind of threw a wrench in everybody's, you know, everybody's recreational activities.
For sure.
And you know, so this was the first competition back that we did, all of us, since, you know, for me since 2019. For you, when was the last time?
Maybe 2018 or 2019, around that time.
So around probably about the same time.
Yeah.
And you know, but it was just a good fire starter, man. You know, I'm a competitor. I hate losing. You know, I know we don't do this for money, but it's just like it's in a way it gets the ego, you know, the ego flowing in a good way. It gets I don't know, man. It's something about competing that we've forgotten about. You know, because I think now competition is looked at as like a bad thing with participation trophies and ribbons.
Oh, bro.
You know, nobody being a winner and loser.
Dude.
Like there's nothing about that's good in it because it doesn't transfer over to life.
Exactly.
You know?
So yeah, I talked about it in my podcast too. Go ahead.
And if it's something like that where, you know, in this case for us it's you know, it's CrossFit competition, bodybuilding and powerlifting competitions. You know, I've had 2 knee surgeries, so, you know, doing stuff like flag football, basketball, recreational basketball, I don't really do that anymore. But this is one way that I'm still able to ignite that fire and compete, you know, because this is what works for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I know I didn't do very well doing this, but I want to get better for the next one.
For sure.
And it gives me something to strive for.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I'm not going to be going to I'm not become a professional athlete or anything, but it's also one of these things about being a coach that's like, you know, you're walking your talk.
Oh, yeah.
Because we can't say stuff and, you know, preach like, hey, keep working hard, keep pushing, when we don't even do that ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, and that's an unfortunate thing about what we do too, is there's a lot of trainers, and some of the best trainers and coaches, you know, they don't look the part, but they know what they're doing. They have the background skills for it.
For sure.
You know, but a lot of it is also, it's like, you know,
practice what you preach.
Practice what you preach, exactly. And that's one of those things where it's like, okay, you know, for me, it just lighten that fire again.
Yeah.
You know, for you, lighten that fire again. And, you know, being there at the, you know, shout out to CrossFit or New Force Fitness there in McAllen for hosting the event. But it was a great event, you know, Power Hour. We tried to get 12 workouts done. It was a team of 4 of us, and I mean, I felt like throwing up at the end. I was like, holy shit. You know, it took me about 30 minutes to recover after that.
Oh yeah, I was dying. And more context, like I didn't know Andrew up until a month before the competition. So like that's another thing. There was no chemistry in anything that we were doing. Like we got maybe 2 workouts.
We got, I think, 3 workouts.
3 workouts in.
We all have different schedules.
Yeah.
You know, we all have different schedules. You know, your schedule changes with with your position over at the store.
Yeah.
You know, my schedule is a little different here at the gym, and Carlos's schedule is a little different. Then we actually had the 4th person who was originally supposed to join us dropped out because his schedule changed.
Like 3 or 4 days before the competition.
Like 3 days before, and then luckily, you know, again, Jason. Shout out to Jason.
Shout out Jason.
You know, he's always down for anything. You know. If I know a few of y'all, if you're here, you know, if y'all hear reporters about Jason Boroso, I mean, you ask that guy to work out, and he's always down, no matter what it is. So he was down. He joined us, and again, he was in the same position. He's been working a lot more strength stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but it kind of lit a little fire under him again too. And it's like, you know, like I said, we do this for fun.
Yeah.
But it just brings that competition back, and competition is great for anything, for anybody, for everybody, because it's supposed to bring out the best in you.
Oh yeah.
You know, because it does. And if it doesn't, if you get mad about competition, mad about losing, well, good. You know, that should be something. If you're okay with it, and it's like, okay, well, you know,
like you said, it translates into life.
Yes.
It's like giving, like you said, I had a podcast on it about giving away these participation trophies. Bro, when you lose in life, you lose in life. You don't get a participation trophy. It's like if you don't get that job position you wanted, you don't get like a second job or something like that. You have to go out and apply somewhere else.
The employer's not going to give you a, hey, thanks for applying.
Check,
you know.
You know, like it's like, and what we're doing is we're not preparing the generation below us to learn to work for what they want, right? Because they're always so used to getting this participation trophy, they're not used to actually losing. So when they hit life and they suffer a loss, they don't know how to react.
Look at the staffing shortages that we're having right now. You know, you work in,
I'm struggling with that.
You work in the service industry, staffing it. I mean, here on the island, here in Port Isabel, you know, all the handouts that are being given out. Now, granted, again, we had some issues that happened with that, right? And there are people that do need benefits.
Yes, let's not snub them under the carpet.
No, there are people that do need those benefits to help, you know, but those benefits should be a stepping stone.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be where you sit down and stop.
Yeah.
You know, some people do need that little, hey, here's something, get you some food, get you some your necessities. Boom. Now use that to, again, go up the ladder, the next rung.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of people they don't go up the next rung. They stay where they're at, or they stay on the ground.
For sure. Yeah.
Like they never build up past that. And that's where we're at right now. They're just used to being handed things for a good job for not doing very much.
Yeah,
you know, and like in fitness, you work, you see the results, and you have to work over time to see those results. Or if you never work, you're never going to see any change.
Exactly.
And that's something that we fight with a lot of people every single time. It's like we get a lot of people that come and join us for a month. Well, what we do is not easy, so to say, and you do it at your own pace in a way, but it's not easy. It's hard work.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, it's going to take time. Like, you're not going to be where you're at. You're going to be struggling. But if you only give it a month and you're only showing up twice a week or once a week, then you're like, screw this. Like, I'm not seeing any results. Well, of course you're not. Yeah. You know, fitness is one of those things where it's delayed gratification. You know, it's not like going and buying an iPhone or, you know, going to the restaurant, getting your food or your drink, and it's right there. Boom, boom. You drink it, eat it, you feel good. You know, with fitness, you go get a gym membership, you work with coaches and everything, and it's not instant.
Yeah.
You know, and it's one of those things where whatever you do here, you can self-sabotage outside of here the other 23 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know, by not sleeping, by not eating, by not drinking right, by not socializing right, by, you know, whatever you're doing. And it's like, well, I'm not seeing the results. Okay, we only got an hour with you at most. You know, for those of us that work with like nutrition and accountability stuff, yeah, we work with them a little more.
Yeah.
But we can't, like, we're not there to hold your hand the whole way, you know, because we can't do that.
Exactly.
You know, we're only one person. And again, it's one of those things where it's delayed gratification, where you self-sabotage outside of here. And we can't do anything about that.
Yeah, there comes a point where you need to hold yourself accountable as the person that is trying to progress. Because I'll tell you what.
You can turn the chair if you want. So.
I'll tell you what. Winning, results, progress. There's a couple of things that they don't compromise for.
Exactly.
That's excuses. Winning doesn't care how many excuses, even if they're good. I mean, there's some. My mom was in the hospital last night. That's a good excuse, right? Go handle that. But guess what? The progress stops because life happens, right?
Life does happen.
So if you stack serious excuses along with like, oh well, I'm not gonna go to the gym today. I'm a little bit too tired, or I didn't get the proper sleep. Well, it was your responsibility to get more sleep in order to, right? So
don't get me wrong. Rest and recovery is important.
Yes,
it is important. But again, a lot of the
that's why you're accountable for getting proper sleep. If you stayed up at 3 in the morning watching Netflix, whose fault is that? That's not, you know what I mean? That's
People say they don't have time, but then they're binging, 3 to 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
As soon as they get out of work or whatever they're doing at home, binge watching that. It's like, again, the excuse.
exactly, yeah. And winning, I have a segment on that on my show. Winning doesn't compromise for any of those type of stuff. You need to get, if you truly want progress, you truly want to win, you truly want to succeed, rid of the excuses, rid of all the complaints, because I'll tell you what, bro, 80% of the people that you tell your excuses to, they don't care.
And then the other 20% are happy you have them. All right. So sorry about that. We had a little break in between, but like I'm biased towards what we do simply because I love what we do, and I know it's effective because what we've done here and what I've done, multiple times and in training multiple people, hundreds of people, and like I said, athletes and everything, from elite Division I, soon to be pro athletes at A&M to, our oldest member or one of my oldest clients who was 96, and they were just trying to maintain their mobility and be able to get up and off the toilet without asking for help.
Yeah.
To, 3 to 4 year olds who I was training with like club soccer, It's one of those things where it's like you got to put in the work,
It's a beautiful thing too to help out a range of different people with different motives.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm biased towards what we do, but there's something there out there for everybody, and you have to figure out what'll get you up and off your couch first. And it's Zumba, great. If it's what we do, functional fitness, great. If it's bodybuilding, great. If it's obstacle course racing, great. If it's running, being a runner, a triathlete, a bicyclist, a swimmer, whatever it is, something that gets you up and off the couch and gets you motivated and you like to do it, go do it.
Yeah.
But there also has to be a point where it has to be somewhat challenging too.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you.
Good.
And there has to be some of those things where it's like, hey, we have some clients that started off, with us, like all they would grab was like the 8-10 pound dumbbells for everything.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, let's try going up to the 15-pound dumbbells. You've already used those for 3 months. Let's go. Oh, but I don't want to get big and bulky. You're not going to get big and bulky. And hearing that myth just blows my mind. It's like, first of all, if you're a female, you're not going to get big and bulky. You don't have the testosterone. You don't have the, and some people are naturally, they're mesomorphs.
Yeah.
They're naturally muscular.
Yeah.
So that's their structure. But dude, embrace that.
Yeah.
You got to embrace being strong. You got to embrace being, being healthy.
Yeah.
And you got to like how you look. Those are some of the things that we push for people. For the ladies, it's like, strong is beautiful. The independence is awesome.
Yeah.
For guys, it's like, why would you not want to be strong?
Yeah.
There's I think it's a quote by either Socrates or Plato. I forgot how it goes, but he's like, for a man to never see what his limits are or his potential is, strength-wise, is a man that is lost or something around
along those lines.
Yeah. I need to get myself a Jamie over here like Joe Rogan.
Yeah. I got
like
mine.
Like your cousin, man.
Yeah, I got mine. Which he's been absent, so I'm gonna have to get on him. But anyway, so I'm glad that you brought up like that people have to find their different motives, because many moons ago when I was younger and before I was training, what got me started was one thing, and I thought that one thing should motivate everybody else. So at the time I was preaching like, oh, this is what's gonna get you out of the couch. This is what you need to do. And then that's totally wrong, because my motives are completely different from somebody else's motives. And so like the way I explain it is like, I want to be the best athlete I can possibly be, even if it's just for ego, whatever. Like I don't even want to be a pro athlete or anything like that, even if it's just for like me to know that I accomplished this. But for somebody else, like a mom who's in her 40s or 50s, they just want to they want to live long to see their grandkids, or they want to live long to be able to move and function correctly in order, to see their grandkids. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's different motives. So don't think that, oh, this is what's getting this person out of the couch, that's what I need to do. No, Fitness is so complex, but yet it's simple as well. Because nobody knows you the way you know you. So what is going to get you out of that couch? Only you know that. So figure it out. And
yeah, and again, another thing that blows my mind too is well, not blows my mind, but it's understandable too, is the pricing stuff. Here we're not the cheapest, but we don't want to be the cheapest.
Yeah.
We're not the cheapest because we provide a different service. Now it's like, okay, $100 for a gym membership, that's expensive. Yeah, but look what you're getting out of it. You're getting coaching, you're getting the program, you show up, we teach you guys how to do everything, we give you an explanation. If you ask questions, we're going to answer.
Yeah.
We're, in a way, we coach you guys through it. That's at least what we do here. Now, that's for the month. Now it's like, well, it's not on my budget. Okay, it's not on my budget, but I see you over at Tequila Sunset and Laguna Bob's, buying rounds of shots and beers and, leaving a $30 tip.
Yeah.
No offense to, to our bartenders over there. They're great bartenders, but you can't say you can't afford it when you're at these bars, spending $40-50 at one bar that bounces to the next one, $40-50 here.
Yeah.
And there you go. That's already your gym membership for the month when you could have been throughout the week hitting it hard here for an average cost of, if you're coming and utilizing our memberships here at Rip Current for an average cost of $9 a class. And again, we try to provide much more value for what we do here.
Yeah.
And that's something that we try to do.
People struggle investing in their health.
Well, like you said, everybody needs to, the financial planning is something that, just financial planning is something that we're not taught. So reading books and like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I don't know if you read that one, but Robert Kiyosaki, it's a great starter book. It's recommended. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad, write that down. Everybody should read that book. Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, another one. Now he's a little more on the frugal side, no debt, things like that, just straight cash for everything. Debt snowball, knocking out debts one at a time, but starting with your smallest to the biggest, because you can snowball that, which is another thing that's awesome about that too. Another one, if you're an entrepreneur, Profit First by Mike Michalowicz, another great book right there. He has a few of them for different what's called occupations, and so that's a great one. Profit First. That's just, again, talks about little things that we can do to help set your finances straight. And of course, going and talking with your banker, going and talking and learning. If you're going to YouTube, if you're going to watch Netflix, at least spend 15 minutes on YouTube learning about, personal finances, and how you can leverage those for yourself. But investing in your health is one of those things that people don't like to do.
Yeah.
And here in the Valley, you see that much more.
Oh yeah.
Because this, and I've said this time and time again, the Hispanic culture does not care about health and wellness, health and fitness.
Yeah.
We think that diabetes, a lot of people think that diabetes and, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart disease, and all these, they're hereditary diseases.
Yeah.
And they are to a point.
Yes.
Right? You may have a genetic disposition to being a diabetic, as opposed to somebody who's not, right? But it's not a for sure thing.
Yeah.
And you see people getting their foot, like I've seen aunts, uncles, diabetic feet, wearing the socks, had some family friends, feet cut off, toes cut off, all the way up to their ankle and everything because of those issues. But it's like,
I've seen it, bro.
No, but it's like, here it is. He's diabetic. Like that I'm predisposed to it. You're predisposed to it. What are you going to do to not let that happen?
Yeah.
It's in the personal responsibility though.
Exactly.
Action, wanting yourself to not become that way. And so investing in your health is one of those things where it's like very, very, very hard to get people to realize, like, hey, $100 here for the month is going to help you save thousands of dollars later, because you either invest in your health or you're going to be spending on your sicknesses.
Yep. Yeah. That's why we say invest. not spend or not waste. It's an investment, man. Like,
And you got to use it.
exactly. And let's be like, we can even not even go that deep, and we can say that if you invest in your health and you become a better person through fitness, you can become better all around. I spoke about like my little testimony of how fitness kind of helped me spiritually, mentally, you know, and it
Just overall.
exactly, it made me a better human being overall. So investing in your health, it's literally that. You're investing in yourself, you're investing in growth, you're investing in progress in all different areas. Because I can speak for myself. After a workout, man, I feel amazing.
Feels good.
Mission accomplished.
Even if you feel like shit before,
Yeah.
you do something, you get those endorphins pumping, you get those neurotransmitters running. Like, it feels good.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, hell yeah, man. So earlier before the podcast, you were talking about kind of these personalities, this little personality graph, right?
Yeah.
And so speaking about, taking action, personal responsibility, things like that. Let's dive into that a little bit. So you were talking about how there's 4, and this can go for anything, right? So what Roger's going to talk about here in a bit is, and you're going to see, like, oh, I'm kind of like that, I'm kind of like this, kind of like this, kind of like this.
Okay.
So, and we're just going to go into a brief explanation, because
Yeah.
I think this was, I was very intrigued by it, because there's something that I know, at least on the male side of it, very similar, because he talks about how, or he's going to talk about here in a bit, how there's 4 quadrants or 4 types of personality.
Yeah, temperaments.
Temperaments. Okay.
Yeah. So just a disclaimer: if my mentor is watching this, he might get a little bit mad at me because I have a mentor who I recently had on the show, and he teaches me all this stuff. And so what I eventually want to do is get to the point where I'm able to teach this type of stuff on platform or on a podcast and whatnot. But I'm going to share it with y'all anyways. So I want y'all to have an open mind right now, and I'm going to try to make something that is very complex into the most simple way as possible, okay? So we all fit, every single person that you know, and everybody in the earth, fit into 4 different categories of their personalities, and they're called temperaments. Now, one of them, the first one would be the choleric, the second one would be sanguine, melancholic, and I always forget the last one. But to make it very simple, we categorize it into sea animals. That's the way I was taught. That's the way I'm going to tell you all. So we're going to go into the first one being the shark, second one being the dolphin, third one being the urchin, and the last one being the whale.
I actually went to go grab a little whiteboard.
Awesome,
that way.
yeah. Cool. So I'm going to draw a little graph here for y'all. Okay. So on the top left, and if y'all are watching at home, y'all can actually write this and it'll help you out as well. Okay.
So right now he's drawing out a quadrant. Okay, so if you're listening, I'm drawing out 4 squares.
You can also, if you're listening, you can also Google this. It's literally on Google. It might not look exactly the way I'm presenting it, but like as far as sea animals, but you will be able to find it. Okay, so I'm going to show this to the camera. That way y'all can get a better view. All right. So if you're watching at home, this is the way that you can kind of write it down. The top 2 is going to be shark, dolphin, urchin, whale. All right, so awesome. I get so excited talking about this stuff all the time. So something to keep in mind before self-analyzing yourself is that you have all 4 of these inside of you. It's not some, because what's going to happen is while I'm explaining, you're going to be like, oh, well, I have some shark tendencies, but I also have some whale tendencies, and I also have some, so am I all 4? No, we're trying to figure out what your
Predominantly. Like
yes,
your predominant temperament.
Exactly.
So to say.
Yes, it is. So we're gonna, and in reality, we're gonna find the top 2. So, for instance, I'm not even gonna say mine because I feel like it'll try to persuade you all into thinking that you're that too.
Talk about that after. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Let's get into the technicalities of this.
Yeah. So you'll be 2 of these. So keep in mind that in the back of your head. So let's talk about the physical forms of all 4 of these animals. So a shark. If you were to picture a shark, even though it's not the biggest out of the 4, right, the whale being the biggest, it is the most aggressive. It's the most territorial. It has the biggest ego. It is very.
It's muscular. It's intimidating. It's,
exactly.
You know.
And if we can describe it in chemical, it'd be high in testosterone, right? You know what I mean? So, things about a shark is that they're very good at leadership. They're typically going to be the ones that are willing to take on those leadership roles. They're going to be the ones that want that spotlight, but for a good motive, for a leadership motive, and for a goal. They're very, very goal-centric, meaning that they're very good at, okay, this is what I need to do, and they're able to formulate people around them to do that. Now, here's where people often think that they're cold-hearted, is that they're very good at cutting the people off that aren't going to help them achieve that goal, right? So like, I gave you this analogy. Somebody, you actually gave me the analogy. Somebody wants you to go have a beer or go watch a game with them, right, on a day of the week. But I can't do that because Monday through Friday, that's for my goal. That is something that I've already set forth for myself, and I need to achieve this, and I can't let myself down. Hit me up on the weekends. That's totally fine. You know, I'm not busy on the weekends, but when it comes down during the week, I'm busy, and I'm a busy person. Now, people might think, oh, he's cold-hearted. He doesn't care about anybody else but himself. He's just trying to be successful in whatever he wants to do, but he doesn't care about everybody else. That's not true, but they're often looked at that way. Now, they're not afraid of confrontation. So if you rub them the wrong way, even they're going to approach you, but it doesn't mean it has to be in a disrespectful way. They can do it in a very positive, constructive way. Like, oh, hey, look, excuse me, I don't really like the way you're speaking to me. I don't like the way you said that. I would appreciate it if you wouldn't do that. Now, further on into the teaching, we'll talk about refined and unrefined, where you can have a toxic side of any four of these. So a toxic shark in that situation will literally probably just cuss you out, get aggressive, want to fight you. And the best way I can explain it is, we all have that one drunk uncle, grandpa, whoever it is, that
friend that always wants to get in a fight at the bar. After a few beers. You know, he has some kind of complex. But like we talked about earlier before the podcast, was, you know, you always got that friend that you have to look out for, because they always want to try to fight somebody, but they always pick fights with like either the smallest guy or the biggest guy.
Yeah.
You know,
they always have something to prove.
Something
right?
Exactly, something to prove for no
apparent reason.
No apparent reason.
So those are toxic traits of a shark. Now, a dolphin, who is also, one thing I forgot to mention, is the top layer are extroverted and the bottom layer is introverted. So shark dolphin would be extroverted, meaning they express how they feel, whether that's vocally, physically, it can be through facial gestures, hand gestures. They speak with their body. They speak
with their clothing, or with you know, what they're doing.
They're very loud people.
Flashy.
That's not just vocal. They're loud with the way they dress. They're loud with the way they move. Everything. So those are extroverted temperaments.
Attention grabbers.
Exactly.
Like,
and the bottom are going to be introverted. So those are like, you literally have to dig in a little bit more deeper, or you have to gain their trust in order to get that out of them. So a dolphin, very extroverted, probably the most extroverted out of the four, and they're very but they have a different motive than the shark. So the shark is more about leaving a footprint on earth, impact, right? They don't really care about the money. They don't really care too much about the flashy. They'll be flashy, but just for recognition, just to show like, okay, look, I'm a leader. I am dressing this way to prove that, you know, there's a goal behind it, right? So a dolphin, they just love flashy. They love fun. Anything associated with fun, a dolphin is all in. If I can describe in one word, it'd be lit. They're always trying to have a good time. But they're people person. They're people, right? People person?
People pleasers.
People pleasers.
Or people, they love being around people. They need people.
They need people. And the bad thing, the good and bad thing is that the good is that they're very good recruiters, meaning you have to have these type of people in your team in order to want to have people join you. But the bad thing about that is that, hold on, I lost track. So the good thing is they're very good recruiters. Now the bad thing is that they base their emotions off of that. Meaning if they're alone and they get bored, it usually equals to bad stuff happening. So like if they get bored, they're either gonna start gossiping, they're gonna have withdrawals, and let's say like they're having personal issues, drugs, alcohol, whatever, they'll fall back on those type of things. You cannot let these people get bored, because they'll literally fall under the pressure. Another bad thing about that is that they base their emotions off of other people's reactions. So let's say I came in today and Andrew didn't say hi to me, kind of gave me the cold shoulder. That would affect me if I'm a Dolphin. That would be like, what the heck? Like, you know, that I don't have to be here. Like, screw this guy. I'm gonna go tell Coach Art how big of a douche he is. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna cause more trouble. Oh, now I'm gossiping. You know, it's just gonna. So that's where the Dolphins can get in trouble. But nonetheless, that's not their motive. They love people. They're all about building relationships, not destroying them. They just don't know that they're doing that.
They don't know that they're in trying to save the relationship. They're also somewhat destroying it.
Exactly. So
because they're looking for that attention. They're looking for that connection, no matter if it's good or bad.
Yeah, they're not trying to be malicious. And for instance, let's say you tell me, oh, Coach Art said this, and this, right? And it rubbed me the wrong way, but I understand everybody has their bad days. Me trying to fix that would go into, hey, Coach Art, you know, Andrew came up to me. He said that he had an issue with this. You might want to go sort that out. Let's say Coach Art's a shark. Hey, I heard you had a problem with me. What's the problem? You know what I mean? That's where the Dolphins kind of get into some trouble.
Okay, gotcha.
You see me?
Yeah.
Now, a toxic trait of a Dolphin will typically act like, I always give this analogy. Picture a kid at a candy store. If they don't get what they want, they start to throw a tantrum.
Yeah.
Obviously, in adulthood, they're not gonna start rolling around, right? But they'll act in a petty way. They'll like talk bad about you behind your back, or they'll just give you ugly looks and whatnot. But at the same token, on the other side of the token, they're very forgiving people. They're not detailed, right? They only look at the highlights and they only look at the bold lettering. So meaning, if you rub me the wrong way or we have an altercation and I'm a Dolphin, I will probably forget very, very soon. And it's not because I forgot about you hurting my feelings. It's because I forgot about the details. So it's almost like that wasn't that big of a deal. Okay. Now, off that, I'm going to transition into urchin. And before I say that is something you got to keep in mind. And the important thing about this graph here is that the opposite side of the spectrums, they're literally opposite people. They literally have opposite characteristics. So with that being said, an urchin is very, very detailed, very analytical beings, very there are educators. Okay, so an urchin has the highest capacity to be the smartest. Now that doesn't mean that they are. That doesn't mean that an urchin's smarter than a shark every day. Or doesn't mean, let's say I'm an urchin and you're a shark, that doesn't mean that I'm smarter than you at what you know. That's not what it means. So don't get this the wrong way. But they have the natural tendency of wanting to pick things apart, analyzing it and putting it back together. They know why something works. Okay, iPhone, right?
Ask a bunch of questions.
Asking a bunch of questions. Okay, I know this draws here and erases, but how does it do that? Who thought of making this? They're just constantly asking themselves subconsciously questions.
Like I said, very analytical.
Very, very analytical. And let's say Andrew were to tell me like, okay, on this lift, this is what you have to do. But like, why? It doesn't make any sense. I would be willing to ask those questions because I'm an urchin. Now let's go to the physical form of an urchin. For those of you that don't know how a sea urchin looks like, it's kind of like a ball with a bunch of spikes on it. They're very prickly, right? They're very prickly people, meaning that they're very selective to who they invite in their inner circle.
Yeah, to who they let in.
Who they let in.
The bottom of a sea urchin is soft.
Yeah.
But the outside of it, the balls is prickly spines.
Exactly. And I already know people on the podcast like, that's so me. I don't like people.
I don't let a lot of people in. I don't let them see the underside of me.
I got a big ring, smaller team. I keep my, you know what I mean? So a lot of people like to claim that, but in reality, don't get it confused. What I mean by prickly is like, they have to learn to trust you in order to actually open up to you. They're not just gonna like, they won't be disrespectful, but like, let's say Andrew asking me like questions, I'd try to be as simplistic as possible. Oh yes, no, maybe, whatever. But if it's somebody I trust, I'd probably open up a little bit more and start to, elaborate on certain things. Now, like I said, urchins are very analytical and they're very detailed. Their natural, I would say their niche is they're very good teachers because they know the things so well. They're able to, now not all urchins are good teachers because some of them have trouble speaking and whatnot.
They can break down and analyze things for themselves, but conveying that to somebody else is not what they can do, because again, the social aspect of their temperament is not
extroverted.
It's introverted.
Exactly. So an urchin, it spends 90% of its time planning. These are your over planners. These are your like neat freaks, everything in order type of people. 90% of the time planning and only 10% execution, because their thought process is, if I can plan it down to a T, I don't have to work as hard. They're very efficient beings. They're very, very efficient. Why would I work harder when I can work smarter type of people? Now sharks, going back to the sharks, are the complete opposite. They're 10% planning, 90% action. Yes. They are typically the ones that are going to try to wing it, but it usually works out the way they wanted to work out, because they're extroverted. They're very good at speaking. They have that leadership role. They understand that things are going to come up, and that's okay. They're able to find that audible within the discussion.
Yeah, because they're big doers. They know how to manipulate situations and get stuff done with whatever resources they have.
Exactly. So if you were to ask me a question I don't know, it's like, oh, well, stay tuned. We're actually going to cover that tomorrow in class, but it's very important that we stay in the timeline. I would go home and study that and then come back as if I knew the whole time. That's like a shark tendency. An urchin, however, urchin try to wing it, it would go into panic mode, like, because himself or herself knows I don't know the content. And let's say Andrew would ask me a question and I didn't know, I would literally freak out. Like I would be like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
like
they crack.
They crack.
Like they're just like, they just crack.
Yeah, because they know that they can't lie to themselves. Furthermore, they can't even lie to you.
It wasn't in their plan, so it threw a wrench in that and just screwed them up.
Exactly, exactly. So before I continue, it's very important to know all these type of four, because you have them more than likely in your household, in your workplace, everywhere, in your school. So the reason why it's so important to understand this is that you learn that not everybody's going to have the same motives as you, and you learn how to appreciate everybody for who they are instead of just trying to judge them. Why aren't they like me? And I will share a great story and a great testimony based off of this from my mother and I. Now, we're not going to forget about the whale. And coincidentally, the whale typically gets lost and forgotten oftentimes, which is kind of crazy because the whale out of the four is the biggest animal, right? But these are typically the person that you won't even know you had them in their classroom, in a classroom of 30. They're there all year, but you got to ask, oh, you had this person in class. I didn't even know they were there.
Yeah, what's their name?
I don't know.
You've been in this class for this long?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly. They're often overlooked, and that's not for any reason. They don't like the spotlight. They're like the most introverted out of all the four. They don't like the leadership role. They would actually much rather see their partner, whoever they are, whoever's around them, succeed rather than themselves.
Yeah.
Big team players.
Big support roles.
Big supporter roles. Yes, exactly. They're very loyal. So if you teach these people how to do something, they will do it down to a T in routine, exactly how you show them, because they're so loyal to their craft. Now, here is the downside of a whale, is that there's two different downsides. One of them is they don't adjust well. So if there is a quick obstacle or quick change, they are not going to be able to shift as quick as a shark, urchin, or even a dolphin, or even an urchin. Urchin doesn't like change much, but not as much as a whale.
Yeah.
And the best analogy, and I gave you this analogy before we started on the show, was that picture a whale as if we wanted to take a train from Texas all the way to California. That is a process, right? That is a teaching process,
like step by step.
Exactly.
Slow process. You teach them how to do one thing, that's how they're going to do it for the whole way.
Exactly. So that is a teaching process. That's how long it takes a whale to learn something. Building a railroad is not easy. It takes some time, right? So let's say we build the railroad, we know the structure plan. Now let's say we're on our way halfway through the leader, the shark of the group says, you know what, guys, change of plans, we're gonna go to New York. A whale's freaking out because they're like, wait, I can't change direction like y'all. I'm not a car. I can't just turn around and go the right way or left.
Just change.
You can't. They're incapable of doing that. They go into panic mode. So the next move would be nice and slow change.
So hold on, I thought real quick. Yeah. Camera's gonna go.
So that doesn't mean that they're incapable of change. It just needs to be nice and slow. So what that means is, like, if you do want to go to New York, understand that you do need to build that railroad again. Understand that you do need to get that people comfortable, and you need to have familiarity.
Yeah.
So meaning, like, okay, guys, this is what we're gonna do, but don't worry, everybody that's here are all gonna stay the same. We're gonna work as a team. That gives them comfort.
We're doing the same thing, just in a different direction.
Exactly.
Everybody's gonna stay the same. Nobody's changing. Like, their roles are all staying the same, just a different project.
Exactly. And so that typically annoys the shark. Why can't you just do it? Like, if you're literally like, all you have to do is take a right. That's all you have to do, right? But for a whale, it's not that simple. It's a lot more. It's more about their mental health than anything, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't cover
the comfort.
Exactly. I didn't cover this with you, but the whales are prone to have the highest anxiety and depression, right? Because they call them the human trash bags. And I already know people listening to the podcast are gonna be like, that's me. And here's what I mean. If Andrew's going through something, ay, pobrecito, like, I take his problems and I put them onto my trash bag. I take this person's problem, put it in my trash bag. Oh my God, oh my goodness. These people are often going to be the ones staying up, like, they won't be able to sleep at night because Andrew's going through something.
Yeah.
Andrew can literally be asleep already.
They'll take everything super, super personal.
Exactly, super personal. And the problem that they have is that they can't dump out that bag. See, a shark would literally be like, oh man, Andrew, if you need anything, I'm here for you, bro. It sucks that you're going through that. I'm a call away. I'll be able to go home and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm here for you. I still care about you. It just looks a little bit different than what the whale would do.
Yeah, the whale stays up, is like constantly calling, checking in, or like, hey, how you doing? Is there anything I can do for you? Or, you know, they're worried and they're stressing whenever that person's not even stressing about it.
Very worrisome. You know? Yeah. They overthink. Now, the biggest problem of a whale is that they're incapable of saying no. That's their biggest problem.
They don't like confrontation. They don't like saying no. They don't. If something comes at them and somebody does them wrong or something like that,
pushovers.
Yeah, they just let it go. They're easy to step on.
Yeah, exactly. So keep that in mind, that they're the opposite of the shark. A shark would literally just say, no, I'm not going to do that. Doesn't fit my plan. A whale, even if it's inconvenient for them, they'll literally say, yes, I'll do it. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? They have trouble saying no. They're big pushovers. They just often get taken advantage of. Now, if you are a whale, I do recommend to start taking some practices to do two things. One, obviously, learn to say no, because it'll catch up to you. Two, don't put yourself in situations where you're going to be forced at an ultimatum. Meaning, like, don't continue to put yourself in a situation where you're going to be having to be asked questions or asked to do things that is out of your convenience. Because you know you struggle with that already. Why would you put yourself in that?
Or, you know, if that's the case, be ready to say no.
Yeah. So that was the first one. Learn how to say no. Different ways to say no. Because they absolutely hate confrontation. They're scared of it.
And like I said, it's personal, so they feel like if they say no, they're letting this person down.
Exactly. Yeah. So a dolphin is confrontational just because they just like to be talkative. They just like to be in the conversation. Yeah. Yes. Now, an urchin would try to hold off. But the reason why an urchin will hold off is because they literally think you're so stupid for coming at them for something that you don't even know about. So they'll literally be like, I'm not even going to waste my time with this guy. He's not worth it.
Yeah. Or they got to do more research before they say something about whatever the topic is.
Exactly.
Because they don't feel comfortable answering about that. But it's like, okay, we'll hold off. We'll talk about this tomorrow. We'll have a debate about this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let me do some more research before I start saying something. And it comes off as like uneducated, dumb, or just wrong.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, I wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah.
Hold on, right?
Exactly. So the bottom two need more time to think. These two up here, the X-rated ones, they can literally go whenever you're ready for them to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is why it's so important, and I can continue going on and on and on, talk about nature versus nurture, refined versus unrefined, but that'd be like a whole nother hour.
Yeah.
But
But this was a good little, like I said.
So let me give you like a personal example, a testimony of mine, because now that I've already kind of gave you all the overview, I am a shark urchin. That's who I am. Okay, so. This is what it wasn't self-diagnosed. This is diagnosed through my mentor who teaches this. I am a shark urchin. Now my mom is a dolphin whale. Literally the completely opposite, like the opposite side of the spectrum. We don't even connect in any type of way. Now, it is no surprise now after I learned this, the reason why I don't have a good relationship with my mom. Now, we're good now.
Yeah.
Right. But we wouldn't be able to be together for a very long time before something happens, someone explodes. Usually it's
you guys butt heads.
We butt heads a lot. And so an experience, a testimony that I have when I was a little kid was that I'm a shark urchin, but through, we're not gonna talk about it, but through nurturement, I've learned to nurture my urchin side to sound more analytical, to sound a little bit more smarter. I learned through my field of work. Yeah. And through my field of demands, wherever it needs to be, that I needed to sound a lot smarter than what that actually was. But I need to sound smart in order for people to take me as effective.
Take you serious, effective, whatever the case is.
Exactly. So I learned to nurture that side. Now, this has been me since I was a kid. I always loved to sound smart. My mom, which is the dolphin, she hates details. She hates all this analytical stuff. So my mom, when I would try to explain to her a story, she would literally call me stupid. Like, are you stupid? Just spit it out. Why you have to say all of that just to get to this? Yeah. She would literally call me dumb.
Like, why diving into all this detail when you could just said, you spent 10 minutes telling me all this, when you could have just been like, oh, this is this.
Exactly. She would call me that, and it would hurt my feelings.
Well, hell yeah.
And I would question myself. Am I stupid? And to me, as part urchin, I'm like, it matters a lot to me to be smart. So it would hurt my feelings. I'm like, am I really that dumb that I can't just convey this message as simple as possible?
Yeah, am I not saying something the right way, or am I trying to say too much for something so simple?
Exactly.
You know?
So, but after learning this, and keep in mind, this is like over a decade in separation. After learning this, I realized, wow, it wasn't that I was stupid. It was just because maybe it was an ego thing for her. Like, oh, like he's going through all this different stuff. I don't care about that. Or like, maybe she didn't understand what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Because it was too analytical for her. And so she took it as offensive, like, oh, you're so stupid. Maybe she felt stupid. Or maybe she just got annoyed.
Yeah, because people usually project things that they feel onto somebody else.
Exactly.
You know, so if they don't feel, like in this case, you were trying to explain all this stuff and she was like, okay, it's too much information. Maybe she couldn't process all of it or whatever, or she just didn't want to, like you said. And she'll just get to the point.
Yeah.
You know, because she's not that analytical with it.
Yeah.
So that was maybe her way of spitting that out and just be like, just get to the point.
Yeah, exactly. So back to the main point of learning all of this, it has helped me out personally in a bunch of different ways. Learning how to put my ego aside, since I am a shark, learning how to put my ego aside and learning that not everybody else is like me. I've learned to appreciate people. I've learned to appreciate what they have to offer me and what they have to offer the team.
Yeah.
Right. I struggled with this as a manager early on. As a young manager, I was a manager at the age of 18, assistant manager. I became store director, GM at the age of 20. And I struggled with, why can't they just get it? After learning this, I understand. They're not like me.
You gotta figure out different ways of getting what you need to get done, or getting what you need these people to get done. And then just figuring out like how can I convey this to them so that way they can get what they need to get done.
Exactly. The communication is huge.
Yeah.
Now here's something else that's huge. Placing them in the right position in order to succeed.
Yeah, getting the right people in the right seats on the bus.
Exactly. I'm not gonna get a whale to be talking to customers all day. They'll get drained.
Yeah, or they won't know.
Yeah.
if you have a confrontation or something, order comes out wrong or didn't taste good, whatever, they want a refund or get something else, to be like, okay, or no, that was actually your fault.
Yeah.
As a customer, not conveying what you needed to convey to me, or they're just being assholes and complaining about everything.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's very, very important. Learn how to put the people in your life in the correct positions. Learn how to put yourself in the right position in order to succeed.
Yeah.
Me as a shark, I'm not gonna be in an office all day. I couldn't do it. I couldn't. Like unless it was like a competitive typing. I don't know.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was a cool little, like I said, a cool little like graph temperament, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That I thought would be, beneficial to talk about a little bit, with everybody, because we all have different personalities. We all have different ways of breaking things down. We all have different ways of communicating things with people, and some people are, like you said, in this case, whales, sharks, urchins, dolphins. Now, this isn't just like the main thing to go off of. I mean, there's all different kinds of personality and temperament tests and, psyche evaluations and stuff like that. And, this is what resonates best with you, and that you've been able to see how it applies to your life and everything around you, And it's good because you need to learn more about the psychological aspects of people, different types of people, because as managers, and in this case as coaches and trainers, what motivates one person one way isn't going to motivate another person the other way.
Exactly. Going back to motivation.
Like some people, like in this case here at the gym, some people love, to be pushed. Like they love to be yelled at or have their, raise their voice at me, tell me to push, come on. Some people, they like the approach of, hey, just do it like this because this is why. The urchin, the analytical part.
Yeah.
They want an explanation as to why. Other people, they're just like, just tell me what to do and I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Right? And then other ones are like, okay, well, I need to know both why I'm doing it and I need that push too.
Yeah.
And other people are just like, hey, just show me and I'll do it, but just leave me alone.
Yeah.
If I'm doing something, then let me know, but don't yell at me, don't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm cool.
Yeah. Comfort me, maybe.
What's that?
Comfort me, maybe. Let me know I'm doing a good job or something.
Yeah, the positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
That they're doing it right. Cool.
Dolphin, you can just blast music and say, "Let's do it."
Let's do it, and they get it done.
Yeah.
This is gonna be fun. When actually the workout sucks and it's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks and terrible in a way that's like, holy shit, this is intense. But I thought that was really good because there's like I said, there's multiple versions of this and of different versions from different people and different ways of testing yourself to see, on the male side, from male psyche, I've read, like, there's one book that I have. It's King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, and in a way it breaks down the male psyche into these four categories, and it has to be all four of these in balance, because when you got one over the other, one taking more precedence over the other, then you have an imbalance of the male psyche, So like the king, and I'm not going to go deep into this like this, but like your king is there's two versions. There's the kid version, the man version. The king, a good king, is a good leader. They're able to portray their ideas, convey their ideas to their followers, to their people, in ways that are beneficial to all. They make decisions based off of what's best for everybody, what's best for the community.
Yep.
In this case, like if you're a manager position, what's best for the team, the company. Okay. So they're kind of like your shark. Type A personality.
A refined shark.
A refined shark, so to say. They don't lose their temper very fast, but it's like they say something, they expect you to get it done. They'll show you, but they want you to also take that personal responsibility and learning how to do it yourself. They won't hold your hand for it.
Yeah.
And so then you have, so that's the man king. The kid king is one of those kings that are, they were a prince. Let's say a lot of this stuff happens with, a child taking over the dad's position at a company, right? Cell phone company, right? Or kind of like the kiss ass employee that they don't know what they're doing, but they've kissed so much ass that they move up to the next spot, to the leadership spot. When they get there, they don't know what they're doing. If they don't get their way, they throw the tantrums. If they don't, they don't know how to lead. If they're one of those type of leaders that like, hey, this is what I say and this is what it is.
Yeah.
Or this, I'm the leader, listen to me. Well, no, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
They don't lead by example, they lead by talk. And they don't know how to. They don't know how to lead. There's no analytical portion of it. They don't know how to, let's say like a shark, like wing it. Like if they don't know, hey, I don't know this, but I'll get back to you on it. They're not trying to leave a footprint. They're just following in the steps of whoever was in front of them.
They love the glam.
In a way, but they're still very timid. Like I said, they're an incompetent leader, right? And so we see that a lot.
Yeah.
So that's the king. The warrior is exactly that. Temperament's high. They're always not always on edge, but the man warrior they know when to fight and defend, and they know when to deflect and they know when to attack and they know when to defend.
Yeah.
So they're very analytical in the sense of like, okay, let's say the bar situation, with the dolphin, right? You have that friend that always wants to fight it when they go to the bar and have a few beers or something at the night. Well, they don't do that. They're the type of person that, hey, if somebody's coming at me, I'm going to defend as much as I can, but if I need to attack, I'm going to attack.
Yeah.
They're protectors. They understand that, if it comes to the family, they're going to do whatever they can to protect their family, friends, things like that, but they're not going to start something.
Unless they're very high on morals.
Yeah. So, a lot on that. Now, the kid warrior is the one that always wants to attack. They're always on the looking for the battle, when there's no need for it.
Yeah.
They don't know how to harness their energy. So they're the ones that are always trying to start something, whether it's some kind of conflict, whether it's in personal or physical.
And we all know that person.
Yeah, like there's no reason for it, right? So they don't know how to harness that. The magician is kind of like the urchin, where it's very analytical. They like to break things down because like magicians, like they learn certain things and they know how to manipulate certain things to give off a certain illusion.
Yeah.
Well, that's what these magicians.
Are you saying magic's only an illusion?
I mean, for the most part, yes, right. Now, but they know, and they know how to give that like shock and awe, but they also know how to manipulate things to work in their favor. Now the kid magician, they do things to manipulate people for bad reasons, for unethical reasons.
Yep.
They take advantage of people and stuff like that. Not for the sake or not for the sake of good, out of a good heart.
A good magician would do it to make people happy, to like
to
enlighten,
expand knowledge, things like that. But no, they do it to take advantage. So that happens a lot. I mean, we see it all the time, right? Exploitation of people, for one reason or another. And then the lover, pyramid schemes, things like that. So then the lover is that person who's very, 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 like kind of like the whale, very kind, very caring. The good man lover, when it comes to that is, when it comes to the relationship, they have a great great relationship with their significant other, right? Great relationship with they love their family, they love their friends, they love their, in this case, kids if you have kids, but they're just good lovers, right?
Yeah.
So they spread the love, they spread the well-being, the connections. They enjoy connections, but they also know when to turn it off, like not to be taken advantage of themselves.
Okay.
The bad lover is the one that's like, kind of like the doormat. They love everybody. They don't know how to cut off connections or things like that, friendships. They're taken advantage of a lot by their girlfriend. They're taken advantage of a lot by their parents, by their friends, by people, in the workplace. They're the ones they're the gopher, This and this. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, I'll do this for you. I'll do this for you. I'll do this for you. But they don't know how to stop that.
Yeah.
That's the kid lover, right? Like so, the man lover, the kid lover. So in a way, very similar to that. This is more geared towards the male psyche of it. It's a great book, like I said, King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, and definitely check that out. Very, very good. Like I said, very good. So, yeah, man. So that's another little book recommendation there.
That's a book.
Yeah, it's a book.
Oh, okay.
And they have like a psyche test as well where you can look at that.
Oh, okay.
I think it's by Carl Jung. I have it here in my little library. But King, Warrior, Magician, Lover for all the guys. I mean, the girls can read it too to help get a better sense of the male psyche in a positive way.
Yeah.
So, and then anything about speaking of books now, anything by Jordan Peterson's gonna be great too, because he talks a lot about Christian morals, but just life morals, being a good human, being a productive human, and going back to our victim mindset. We talked about a few, probably about 30, 40 minutes ago. The victim mindset is very, very, very detrimental.
Oh yeah.
And back to this too, sometimes they fall into a victim mindset. That lover falls into a victim mindset. We can't have that. Mindset is huge, and it's something that we don't get into a lot because people don't want to talk about it. And again, in connection with the Christianity stuff, reading your Bible, having those core values and things like that to fall back on is again something that's missing.
Yeah.
We see that we're seeing that more and more.
Yeah, and they're taking it out of everything now. They want taking off the cop cars. They want to take it off the bills and
everything.
Schools.
Why is it so offensive? What about it is offensive? Oh, I don't believe in that. Okay, well, I don't believe in what you believe in, but we can come to a compromise, and it's well, why don't you believe in that? But that's I think stems from a lot of our issues that we're having now, like I said, morally and stuff like that. Because even if you don't believe in the Bible, there's a bunch of lessons that you can get into within reading it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You don't even have to go spiritual.
No,
read that.
You don't have to be a Bible beater or Bible thumper. Just read it for what the text is.
And you'll learn.
Just like you'd read any other book, and you'll learn a lot from it. Yeah. You'll learn, and you can take what you want.
Yeah, the Psalms is a very good characteristic builder. So if you're looking for self-development, there's a lot of short. It's very appealing to people that aren't really believers, but want to learn a lot. Psalms is a book for that because
there's something for everything.
Yeah, a lot of punchlines in there, a lot of character building examples.
They're very short scriptures also.
Exactly.
So you can take a lot, kind of like I said, Philippians 13,
3:14 or something.
14, or I forgot what it is. But you can take one of those and it's hey, take that as your little thing, it's your little punchline, but learn from it. Yeah. Even if you don't follow that spiritually, or you're not a Christian, you could take from that and learn it. That'll help build that moral character. The victim mentality, we fall into it. I've fallen into it plenty of times. Here and there, based off, knee surgeries, it happens, life happens.
Yeah.
But coming out of it is what you have to strive for.
Yeah.
Then it helps to have that support system. Your support system, who you surround yourself with, plays a huge factor into it.
Yeah. Friends,
family, where you hang out, what you do for recreation and stuff like that, it all plays a factor into it. Like with fitness, like we talked about, back in 2015, you set yourself a goal date. I'm gonna start tomorrow, and it's led up to a few different things.
Yeah.
It's a solid foundation. That's one reason why we renamed this podcast Anchored in Fitness, because although we're talking about a bunch of different stuff, for what my anchor is in fitness. Whether I'm doing our workouts here, functional fitness stuff, whether I'm cycling, powerlifting, bodybuilding, everything I do stems from that. And when I'm not exercising, lifting, or following some kind of plan, I've noticed that I get lost. When that rest week or that rest day turns into a rest week, that rest week turns into rest weeks, a rest month, and the next thing you know, I've only hit the gym 3 times, or I've only hit my workouts 3 times throughout the month. Well, I feel like shit.
Yeah.
My mind feels like shit. My body feels like shit. I'm eating like shit. I'm drinking like shit. It's just not good.
Yeah.
And being anchored in fitness is one of those things where it's like, hey, it is an anchor for me. That's what we try to get to everybody too. Is like, hey, you anchor this, it's going to help everything. Your mindset, your physical, the way you look, the way you feel about yourself, the way you socialize with people. Because all that plays a factor.
Yep.
Your support system. Now, for you, who has been like, I guess within the last 2 years, who has been your biggest support system or your biggest supporter?
My dad.
That you could say has helped?
My dad. Okay, so like my dad has been the biggest support system. So not as a child, but like ever since he kind of came back into, like, not that he ever left for good, but like he worked out of town a lot and whatnot. He came back, and yeah, so my dad definitely, he supports me. He may not be able to show up to every event, he may not be able to be there physically, whatever, but like every time I see him, my dad's always telling me like, you can do better, I believe in you, you're so smart, all of these things, like oh, I believe in you, all this type of stuff. That's my dad right there. Obviously my wife too, but
that's more, of course, more recent, I guess.
Yeah,
like the last 2 years.
It's a lot more recent.
Your dad was like your building block support system, and
for sure. My dad is not a man of words much at all. He's more of like an urchin whale.
Yeah, he's deaf. I'm just kidding. No.
But he speaks with action.
That's a joke. He's not actually deaf.
His action speaks a lot for him, and so me seeing that growing up, it inspired me that I wanted to be like my dad. I wanted to inspire. Well, he inspired me, so I wanted to inspire other people. So there were some things that like I did as growing up that my dad didn't really understand. It's not that he didn't support, he didn't understand. For instance, gaming. I wanted to become a professional gamer at one point in my life.
No esports gaming.
Yeah, and my dad was like, why are you spending so much time in that game? You should be hitting the gym more, and whatnot. And so I talked to my dad. I was like, look, Dad, like, I know you don't understand, but this right here makes me happy, like nothing else in this world. Ever since I had that talk with him, my dad was my biggest supporter. He would buy me gifts for like to help support me in this, and like he would check out my videos and whatnot. Like my dad has always been that structure. I guess the inspiring structure, because my mom is very like supportive too. Like my mom is very flashy with her support. Like she'll be posting, sharing my stuff on Facebook and Instagram and whatnot. But I don't know. I guess it weighs a little bit more when it comes to my dad, because I have him, I guess, higher up there when it comes.
You see him as more as support. That's who you connect with more.
And he's always campaigning for me. Like I hear it all the time. Like, oh, you're Roger's dad. I mean, Roger's son, right? He's like, oh, he's always saying this and this and this about you, saying you're a good kid and that you're so smart and that you have a lot going for you. Like stuff like that is just it's heartwarming,
Well, we're very lucky to have that, because a lot of people don't have that connection with their parents.
Oh yeah.
And it, to me it blows my mind. But of course, everybody's life is different.
Yeah.
I still have both my parents. They're both still together. My parents have been like same thing. For me, my dad was our little league coach. He was always at every baseball game, pee-wee football game, taking me back and forth. And it's like, dude, like if I ever become a dad, like I want to try to emulate what he's done for us.
Yeah.
Because those little things, all that support. I mean, up until like this day, like making this podcast, he's gonna be watching it too, and sharing it. And he's like, dude, you can always do everything. Just two things he always said: just always be respectful to people. But if you ever have to hit them, do your thing.
Yeah, I don't know how my life would be without my pops.
And then that's something that's a beautiful thing. Because like I said, the connection is not there for a lot of people.
Yeah.
My mom, like I said, same thing. She's always there too. Like always campaigning for me also. Like I guess in a way like gassing us up.
Yeah.
Sharing all the stuff, watching. And we all have different relationships with each parent.
Yeah.
But it's all a beautiful thing. And the way it happens between us and them.
Yeah.
And we'd be a lot less of the men we are today without them.
For sure.
And we're lucky enough to say that we both still have them in our lives.
Yeah.
And your wife, I know you said your wife is your support system.
Yeah. So
Recently married, you know, and all that, and it's like I said, being married at 24 without having a kid involved is much different than what we're used to seeing now.
yeah,
You know, people having kids, then getting married because of the kid.
because of the kid.
You know,
Yeah.
and then even just getting married.
Yeah.
So hold that thought. Okay, so yeah, so back to what we were saying, man. Had to take a little break there for a little bathroom break. But
Potty
yeah,
break.
the support system of your wife, man. Without having, you know, you guys got married without, again, like I said, without kids, without anything like that. So how has that been, and how has she been a big part of you, you know, progressing through and
My
becoming a better man, so to say?
Okay, so first and foremost, she's my rock. She keeps me solid. That's not to say that we're perfect, and by any means. And to give it in perspective, since we kind of talked about this, I'm a shark primarily, and she's a whale. So by nature, we bump heads, right? So the thing about my wife is a lot of the things that I do scare her. She can't see it for me. She struggles with, when I wanted to start the podcast, before I was doing the podcast, I had a ministry at church. I was a youth leader, and I would give sermons. I would give sermons weekly, and I would give teachings to the children and to young adults and whatnot. And so when I told her that I wanted to pursue the podcast to hopefully impact a bigger crowd,
Yeah, larger audience.
to do it on everybody has social media now, so this is the route I wanted to take. It scared her. She didn't want me to do it. She's like, you need to be spending more time at the church, like, this is what you need to be doing. So she's not really used to someone like me wanting to I'm so passionate about the things that I'm gonna do, and I'm able to change what I'm gonna do so quickly.
Yeah.
As far as, like, I was going to a conventional gym, right? To now I changed up. Now I'm doing CrossFit, and then now she's like, well, why would you do that? Like, you had a plan and whatnot. Like, so
I can do both. I can mix it up.
yeah. So it takes her a while to know, and I guess to trust the process of that. Like, okay, you know, yes, it's scary for me, but I trust my husband. And so we've had these conversations a lot, and with our counselor too.
Because she doesn't see the same vision.
Exactly.
It takes her a little bit of while to kind of own up, or not own up, but to
truly support it.
Yeah.
Because she'll say it with her words in the beginning for the podcast, for instance. Oh yeah, do it. Like, if it's something you're passionate about, do it. In reality, though, it freaked her out, and she didn't want me to do it.
Then you started buying a camera. You started buying some nice mics.
Yeah.
You started getting all the stuff. You're like,
He's actually doing it.
shit, he's actually gonna be spending like money on this.
Yeah.
You know.
So, in that sense, it can not be rough, but I guess I would say that kind of hinders us a little bit as far as that goes.
Yeah, two different personalities.
Two different personalities, but once it gets up and running, once she sees the impact, because whales need to see the impact. They need to see, how is this really going to be productive?
Then you see it's like proven, it's there.
She's all for it. Now it's like she hits me up earlier in the week. Who's going to be on the podcast this week? Or what are you going to talk about this week? Like, now she's all for it. Now she's just like, oh, what you should do on the podcast is add this here and add that there. And so we've implemented, like, the little light that I have now, like stuff like that she has suggested. Now I can see that the support is truly there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, she's very, very supportive, very kind. She would much rather, same traits as well, much rather see me succeed. Doesn't like the limelight. She just very, very supportive. Very, very supportive. I don't know how I'd be able to do all the things that I try to do without her holding it down at the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very supportive. And she's a very traditional woman. She comes from like more of like a traditional home and whatnot. That has struck some problems, but
nothing you can't work through. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's the first, not even a year into the marriage.
Exactly.
You know, and you learn a lot about that because you guys didn't, from what I understand, like y'all didn't live together before.
Yeah,
Like,
it was actually 2 weeks, and the only reason why was because her family got COVID.
yeah.
But yes, we did not live together. I had the house for a few months already, and I was living on my own. We're waiting for that day of marriage so she can finally move in. But yeah, we took the traditional route, which is not common.
Because once you move in with somebody, it's like having a roommate. You know, like the roommates that I had back in college and everything. My first roommate, me and one of my best friends. You know, we're a lot of people told us like, dude, don't room with someone that you know,
Yeah.
because it won't turn out well.
Yeah.
And luckily for us, it did. Like we're still best friends. I mean, he's you know, we had different things, but we've actually meshed real well. Second roommate that I had was my cousin, and at the time we were two totally different personalities. But the good thing about it was that we always had we always had an agreement. It's like in the apartment, keep the living areas clean, but your rooms can be as whatever you want, you know. And so, you know, our living areas were always clean. Our kitchen, our
Living
the
room.
dining table, living room, they were always clean, with the exception like my dog's toys and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, and that was great, you know, because we understood like, hey, we never left dishes in the sink unless we needed to soak them or something. But it was a good relationship.
Yeah.
Living with my sister. Living with my sister was a little different, but I mean, I lived with her pretty much the majority of my life. So, but of course, once you get out, like living with each other on our own, much different. And she was, you know, it was great.
Yeah.
Shout out to my sister too. She's also one of my best friend. So big support for me.
Awesome.
And then one of my other friends, you know, and like for us, it worked out great. So moving in with somebody, in this case, y'all married, not having lived with each other before, there must have been a lot of growing pains.
Oh yeah.
You know, tendencies and like things that you got to change because you may not like, you know, having been a single dude or living in your house by yourself for some time. You know, you're just like, I'll throw some stuff here. I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up tomorrow or later.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's constantly cleaning. She's a little like neat freak. So yeah, and I'm not. I'm very lazy, I guess you can say, with all that type of stuff. So in the beginning, I guess you can say that we did kind of clash in that sense. There's certain things that she would do that would confuse the heck out of me at the house. Or okay, so one thing that I didn't typically like is like the fact that she had her family come over whenever they wanted. Like, you know, just I would get home one day and it was just like, oh, they're here again.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, hold on, like this is
like it was their house.
Yes, exactly.
Like, or an extension of their house.
Exactly, and I didn't like that because I don't do that with my family, right? And at least do me the courtesy of just letting me know that they're gonna come over, right? I guess I can be hypocritical in the sense that I'm bringing random people in the house now for podcasts, but I'm letting her know.
But she knows ahead of time.
Exactly.
She knows like, hey, we're gonna be doing this and this up in your office. Right?
Exactly. So like, it's not like she's getting home or from somewhere and she's like, oh, random people are there or my family's there, so now she has to like, she can't feel comfortable in her home, and that's the way I felt. So that was something that we had to you know, iron out.
Talk about.
Yeah, because that just wasn't healthy for me. I would just get frustrated and.
Well, you can't. I mean, you're in your own house. Like, you want to be able to if you want to walk around naked, you want to walk around naked.
Exactly.
Like, you know, you don't want to have for the kitchen and like have your mother-in-law sitting there with your dick out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So little stuff like that.
Or like come home to eat your leftovers and they're all gone.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I would say finances too was a little rocky in the beginning. Maybe about 2 pretty big arguments about finances. Just trying to, and it's I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but it's true, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people that are listening are gonna go through stuff like that. So that's why I'm being vulnerable and talking about it. But like, and try to put your ego aside. That okay, you're the breadwinner. It's not that way. Your money's her money. Her money is your money.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. Y'all are two different people, but y'all have dedicated yourself to the Constitution of Mary, which makes you one. So now it's both of y'all's goal in order to pay the bills together and then decide what's going to happen with the rest.
Yeah.
So having to tell her what I'm going to spend my money on was something that I really had to get used to.
Yeah, because you were used to, hey, I make my paycheck, I can go buy whatever I want to get.
I pay the bills and then I'm going to spend whatever I want on the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was something that I also had to get used to.
Now you got to tell her that you're going to put $500 in a dog coin.
Dogecoin.
Dogecoin.
I've never even messed with those type of stuff. I'm not a big of a like gambler, like risky with the money, I guess you can say. But I'm very grateful because I know a lot of women nowadays, they're like, well, I'm not gonna do all the cleaning if I'm gonna work too, or like, you know what I mean? Like the male has to put the other half of the cleaning. My wife does all that. she takes pride in it. She's like, don't touch anything. I want to do it.
She knows you're gonna do it half-assed.
Yeah. So I'm blessed in that sense that she does all that. So for the most part, though, I want to say very smooth. Like our first year has been great when it has been projected from everybody around us saying that it is going to be our worst year.
Yeah. You're gonna have rocky. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, and it's happened, and we've had growth. But I'm telling you, like, with the correct mentorship, the correct counseling, us learning this type of stuff, we've learned. When we got into arguments, I'm a shark. I want to handle it right then and there. Hey, let's handle it. She can't. She gets emotional. She needs time. So with me understanding that, I'm like, okay, I'll give you time. We'll talk about it later on today or tomorrow. Just let me know when you're ready.
Yeah.
That allows me.
Just don't brush it out under the table, but we need to settle whatever it is we're arguing about.
Exactly. So me understanding her a little bit better in the sense of her personality, it has helped our, whenever we do argue, how we kind of bandage that up.
Yeah, I mean, it helps solidify your relationship. Mm-hmm. It keeps it on point. It keeps it moving.
Yeah.
You don't let those little things eat up, and you don't just tuck it away, and then all of a sudden, like you said, the garbage bag, it keeps getting full. It gets full, and then it busts. And all that stuff comes out, and it's like, we should have settled all this, prior to it building up. Yeah. Confrontation is one of those things that people don't like.
Yeah.
It's like here at the gym, people don't like to hear that they're, fat and out of shape. Well, somebody has to tell you that, yeah, you're a little overweight and it's going to be an issue with your health and stuff like that. People don't like to hear that.
No.
Like they don't want to. And it's like, well, this is something that we have to tell you because it's the truth. Yeah. And or confrontation in a relationship. If something bothers the other person, they don't want to say anything. A confrontation at work, if a coworker is bothering you, they don't want to take it up to higher up, to the management because they're afraid that they don't want to start anything, or if like their management is doing something wrong and not is treating them badly, they don't want to go to the next level.
Yeah.
Just confrontation. And that people don't like that, but there's ways to deal with it. In this case, relationships. Yeah. Ways to deal with it to make sure that everything continues to run smooth.
Yeah. That's deep, bro, because I can admit that there's been some instances where like I don't even want to confront my wife about something. Like I don't want to deal with the argument, or I don't want to deal with having a compromise because I just rather keep my mouth shut, and it's the easier thing to do, and I'll probably forget about it in 10 minutes. I just won't talk about it. Is that the healthier thing to do? No, but there are some times where I'm like, I'm tired, I don't want to deal with it. So
if it's not a big issue that you can just, all right, cool. If it's not gonna matter in, it's not gonna matter in 5 years, don't spend 5 minutes on it or something like that. For sure. Right. Whatever the saying is. But like in this case, it's okay. Fine if it's not something, if something that I can just forgive and forget, cool.
Yeah. And it's a work in progress. It's always going to be like, I'm sure my wife and I, and because we hear it a lot, like we're going to go through some rocky stuff. Every marriage does. And so
every relationship, whether you're married or not.
yeah. So like I know there's gonna be things that are gonna arise, but you know, with God's grace, you know, we just hope that we're able to handle them in the best way possible and learn from it and grow our marriage. But yeah.
Dude, that's a great way to put it. Because not, like I said, not even through marriage, just in relationships, like boyfriend, girlfriend, you're gonna have issues.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't take care of that, if you let it become toxic, like what I've been seeing more and more is all this. Oh, my girlfriend's toxic, la toxica and stuff like that. Right?
La toxica.
That's not something that's funny. It's
Yeah.
like yeah, it may be funny to us, but
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
dude, you're putting that up. Like you think it's funny, but it's like it's a subtle jab.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know?
yeah.
You shouldn't be saying that. Oh, it's like la toxica over there.
You would love today's podcast. The one I uploaded today. We literally talk about toxic relationships and about.
I saw a preview of it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, that's not right.
Yeah.
You know, there's like if you joke about it, fine. But you know, even in jokes, there's truth to
There's
it.
truth. Yes. Yes. So like I talk about it on the podcast where this guy on my feed says, "Why would I want?" He shares a meme. Why would I want any other girl when I have my own B word?
Yeah.
it's like a fake woke thing. He's like, "Oh, I'm a loyal man, but I'm calling my girlfriend the B word." It's like, what is that? That's so degrading.
It is, and it's degrading because. But the thing is also now with all this fucking like the music and the trash music that comes out, like women, girls, you know, especially younger girls, like they embrace the
They
bitch
own that
word.
narrative.
I'm like, why would you? I'm a bad bitch. Okay, cool. You know, that's fine. But when you identify, like you're like, you know, I'm toxic. I don't care.
Yeah.
No, that's an issue. Like
Yeah,
you
that's an
shouldn't.
issue.
Like that's something that you should take care of. If you're a bad bitch, well, that's something you should take care of.
Yeah.
That's not gonna help anybody. You know, that's only gonna manifest problems. You know, like you're saying, you talked about it there, and I was like, dude, it's not right. You know,
Yeah.
you have to get these things situated because it does no good for anybody.
For sure. And in relationship, what we talk about is like, oftentimes we can kind of cause that toxicity. So, for instance, let's say I was a big drinker and my wife didn't drink.
Yeah.
We got married, and throughout the years or timeline, whatever it is, I got her into drinking. And out of nowhere, I had this awakening one day where I'm like, I can't drink anymore. It's too toxic for me. My life has to turn around. Now, if I turn to my wife and tell her we have to stop drinking, that is unfair for her, right? And now I'm put in a position where I'm like, I stopped drinking, but my wife, she's so toxic. She doesn't want to stop drinking. Well, no, understand that you sowed that seed years ago.
Yeah.
And you made that toxicity within her. Now you have to reap the repercussions.
Yeah.
So like, we really have to analyze where the toxicity comes from.
That's self-evaluation or introspection, I guess.
Exactly.
You know, because you can't have that either. You know, yeah, like the drinking issue, that it does play a factor into how your relationship goes.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have one big drinker, one non. I mean, you can, but you have to understand that this person over here is going to get tired of that,
Oh yeah.
and then you're going to get tired of this over here. So if there's no third win, you know, because it's either she's going to become a big drinker, you're going to stop drinking, but you're going to hate each other because, man, I just want to have a beer at dinner, you know. Okay, but she's like, well, I don't want you having drinking at all.
Yeah.
Well, there's some resentment there, and then or you're like, come on, just have one. The next thing you know, she's killing like two bottles of wine, 3 bottles of wine, and you know, there's a compromise. It's like, okay, well, I can have a beer at dinner, maybe 2, but I'm not gonna kill a 6-pack or something like during the week, you know. Okay, fine. Like you're not getting drunk every day, and you're not drinking so much. Even better for me.
Yeah.
You know, that's like one of those third wins.
Yeah.
You know, it's where you compromise so that everybody feels better about it.
For sure. And when there's no compromise, like how you said, if there's like the guy's a big drinker and the female's not a drinker, there's a disconnect. And so when there's a big disconnect like that, you often find miserable marriages. People that are married just because, one, they're just too scared to get divorced. It's too complex. Like They have to get all the. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
They're scared of dying alone. How would their family look like? And I've seen it, bro. Like I have grandparents on one side of my family that I've seen them go through a rough patch, and it's just like I had a conversation with one of them. It's like I'm just with her because I can't leave. It's just too much invested.
Yeah, we're too far into it. And
yeah, and that's a sad thing to hear.
But if that's the case, okay, if they're feeling like that, well, how can you make it better? Because if you can make it 1% better,
yeah,
you know, at least try to. That's 1% better than what it was.
Yeah.
You know, and if they understand that, like too much invested, well, yeah, too much invested. Like this is what you signed up for in a way, and if not, why didn't you get divorced years ago? You know. And it's like, okay, well, if you're already this much invested, you might as well invest even more into it and try to make it that 1% better.
Yeah.
Each time.
And so he talks about that the first step to making things better, building healthier principles, is consideration. That doesn't even have to do with your wife. That is only done with you.
Yeah.
And it's almost instant. You know whether you're willing to consider the other person or not, or the situation or not. Whether your ego's gonna get away and block that off and be like, no, like I'm right and I'm always gonna be right, or you know what? Let me see how I can help and fix this. That is the first step. Like nothing passes that. Once you take it upon yourself to consider that, okay, what have I done wrong in this situation?
Yeah.
How can I make it better? Or what did I do to result her to get to this point? You know what I mean? Really analyze the situation and consider it. Now, that's when the communication comes involved. That's when the trusting comes back. And it's a process. Depending on how long that you've been doing this toxic traits, be ready to put in the work to try to bounce back from that.
Yeah, to kind of in a way reverse it.
Yeah,
you know, like you said, just trying to see what's going on. Because sometimes, I mean, you may not be doing anything wrong, and it may just be introspection and being like, okay, what did I do to piss them off time and time again? Well, I'm really not doing very much. It could be something on their end that they haven't dealt with themselves, you know. And so it's like, okay, well, I've done nothing but like, you know, supportive, or try to be, you know, be there, do this, and this, and it's like, well, I'm still getting pushback. They're still getting pissed off at me. They're still doing this, it's blowing up at me. Well, fuck. Why don't we sit down and talk about where you're at? Because we never talk about that. Or have you ever tried seeing what the issue is within yourself? You know,
it's good.
So.
One thing I'll add, and this is kind of, it was with the topic before, my wife. One thing that I've loved seeing with living with her, just this year, is the growth in her. Now, she's very humble. She's a very humble person, so she always tries to give me the credit. I tell her, no, that's all you. She's like, oh, but you inspire me. It's like, cut all that. It's like, she's always been put in a position with her family that she's always been told what to do. If she had dreams, aspirations, they've always been shut down if it wasn't in the vision of them.
Yeah.
And so now that she's in this house, and I mean, you could give me a little bit of credit in that I do what I set out to do, and whatever I'm passionate about, I try to execute it, right? And she's seeing that, and being in a house where she's not told, and if anything, I'm telling her, if she wants to do something, do it.
Go for it. Try it out.
She wanted to do nails. We bought her all the stuff to do nails. She wanted to start baking. We bought her all the stuff to do baking goods and sell them. She wanted to do, she wants to do like this singing stuff. Let's do it. And to see the growth, and she's a woman of God to the fullest. So her biggest thing is church. To see her ministry grow within this year, it's night and day. Like if you were to go back in time and see it a year from today, you wouldn't know who she was. Like, what? That shy girl is out there ministering, speaking like this to females and other people. Like, that's insane. And to see that growth in her, man, it's like one of the best things that's come out of our marriage, to be honest.
It's a beautiful thing to see that growth.
Yeah.
You know, especially coming from somebody who was, like in this case, a different familial structure, or, you know, just totally different characteristics from what you grew up in.
Yeah.
You know, And in that case, coming from a family like you guys got married, so you all became one in yourself. So like the Bible says, whenever you become married, each man, woman, they leave their families to become one family.
Yeah.
And you still have those, you still have the connection with your family, but your family doesn't dictate what you guys do as one.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't. And there's no growth in that. If you're always like, oh, we got a problem, so I'm gonna go turn back to them. Now you could get some quality, advice and stuff, or bounce ideas off of them. But if you're listening to everything that they say, well, it's not the same, because your family's not the same as hers. So the way that each family deals with things is not good. It may not hash out well in between y'all.
And more often time than not, your family is going to protect you over the other one.
Of course.
Exactly. So that is, I feel like the only way that is actually possible in a constructive, productive way is if both of y'all go to that parent. Because now it's like, we're on the same team here. How can you help?
Yeah. Or what advice or wisdom or knowledge can you give to us to see it from their perspective, and then you go and see the other side. Because again, if you're taking, what happens a lot of times is what I see is like, relationships don't, they turn to one family, and that one family takes precedence, and it's like, well, this isn't your mom and dad's relationship. This is your parents' relationship, your grandparents' relationship.
Yeah.
This is y'all's. This is yours. So you got to hash things out and figure it out amongst yourselves, between yourselves. Or like in the case with, getting the parents' approval to do stuff. To a point, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, ultimately, I'm in charge of my life, and
at what point do you make decisions for yourself?
You have to, because then there's no growth.
Yeah.
Your parents are always going to be there. Like I said, I mean, we talked about this. Our parents are our support system. Mom, dad. I mean, they've supported me throughout anything that I've ever done. When I want to start this, when I told them, well, yeah, I'm going to try to start a little gym. Like, I'm going to put all my money I have into this little gym. Okay, go for it. We're here to help you out. Like they have nothing to do with this. They didn't know what it was going to look like. They didn't know how I was going to do this. But they've helped me out along the way. And hey, we support you. We understand that. Because I took all I had. Like, if I wanted to, I could have taken all that money that I put into this, bought a house, got a job, done, do something that kind of like everybody else tries to do.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I want to try something different. I want to try to become a business owner. And of course, becoming a business owner is not easy, especially if it's bootstrapped, self-funded.
Yeah.
It's like, well, they've been that support system, and like, hey, do it.
Yeah.
We got the extra room there at the house, so you can stay. All right. Now they're not telling me I can stay there for forever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, to a point, there's like, okay, it's either this business is gonna take off, or it's like, hey, I gotta do something of my own, because eventually I do want to have, I do want to have my own place. I do want to have, like, let's say if I want to start a family, get married, potentially, or something. Great. I can't do that living under them.
Yeah.
And like I said, they've been super supportive in all this. If this place had a shower, I'd be living here. But unfortunately, we don't have a shower.
Yeah.
So, but just like that, I mean, the support system is vital. But over time, you have to be able to do stuff, make decisions for yourself.
For sure. Yeah, my dad has been a big advocate of that. Like, he's always put me in the position where he's like, okay, you're gonna make the decision, and you're gonna suffer the consequences, whether it's a good consequence or a bad consequence.
Yeah.
But you're gonna do it, and it's gonna fall on you, and you're gonna make that decision. So there's often times where my dad has put me in those positions where it's either sink or swim. And
it's good, man. It's growth.
Yeah.
Like I said, with this place, it's been nothing but growth and learning, especially after having a, potential be like, hey, we're gonna shut down your private business because we're gonna close down the whole country. Only certain businesses can stay open. What the fuck? Sink or swim there.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're still swimming.
Yeah.
But same thing, dude. It's been a hell of an experience.
Yeah, I can only imagine, bro. It takes a lot of courage to do all this.
It takes a lot of courage to do anything.
Yeah.
So, well, man, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. It's time to get some food.
Time to get some food.
You know, a little hungry. So, this was great
Yeah,
conversation. Bro. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, for those that have watched, thanks for sticking around for the, hour and almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
For those of you that are listening, we hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Again, Mr. Roger Quintero. You can also, of course, listen to his podcast, The Common. Okay, so got cut off there, but like I said, Mr. Roger Quintero, you can find his stuff, his Common Podcast, The Common Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere else they can reach you.
Instagram at OH Rogers with an S at the end. And yeah, that's pretty much where I post. TikTok, my full name, Rogelio Quintero Jr.
TikTok, cool, man.
Basically, all my platforms promote the podcast. So just go subscribe to the podcast. But if you want to follow me on socials, that's cool too.
Hey, man, we appreciate you having you on. Like I said, taking the time out your schedule in a day to come get a workout, jump on a few different topics. We talked about a little bit of everything from faith, fitness, and family. And like I said, we hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you on the next one.
All right, bro. We appreciate you guys.
Cool.